Welcome to the Model Health Show. This is fitness and nutrition expert Shawn Stevenson here with my gorgeous, amazing, talented producer of the Model Health Show and co-host. Are you posing?
I am.
Jade Harrell. What's up, Jade?
What's up, Shawn?
How are you today?
Shawn, today I am motivated.
Motivated.
That's right.
What does that mean?
I'm motivated to move. I'm moving.
I like
and
that.
it motivates me.
I like that. I can
Thank
picture you
you.
now like moving
Right.
while saddled on a cow.
Well, that too.
It's my brain. I'm very visual.
That's
He's
an
like
odd picture, yeah.
motivated.
Yeah.
And then jumping over the moon. Right?
Only if it's spotted. I want a spotted one to ride.
I think that's a Guernsey.
There we go.
It's a Guernsey cow. That's awesome. All right,
We work
everybody,
together.
thank you so much for tuning into the show today. Very, very excited to have you and excited about our special guest.
Yeah.
Oh, she is the bomb. I'll just tell you this right off the bat.
So gorgeous.
And we're talking about something that has swept the nation, all right, this phenomenon today. But the crazy thing is, this has been something that's been built into our culture, into humanity for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, a basis, something deeply rooted in our evolution. That today it's like this new wave of popularity, but it's just something we've kind of lost track of. And we're going to talk about the massive benefits of this particular thing,
Okay.
and also how she structured things in a specific format to help. I mean, she's helping thousands of people lose weight that they've been struggling with for years with this particular strategy. But not just lose weight, but get radically healthier, better brains,
That's right.
all right, better bodies. I was what did I say? Better bras or
Right.
something?
Those
That
two.
too, whatever. But it's just been an amazing transformation. She's got a lot of those stories and pictures in her book as well, and a really great book. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. Let me tell you guys, it's the holiday season.
Yes, it is.
It's the holiday season right
The
now. So we got
most
something a little
wonderful
special that I
time.
just got in the mail.
What's that?
And I'm going to, when I get back, when I do my workout, I'm going to have this post-recovery workout shake. Let me tell you what it is. So this is
post-workout?
pumpkin spice recovery shake.
Oh,
all right.
Shawn.
Now listen. Honest sent me, they
went
hooked
with
me up.
pumpkin
These are my
spice.
friends.
Oh,
Okay. They
you
sent
got
me,
friends.
listen. Listen with your other ear.
And my
turn
heart.
turn your head. Show me your
I'm
other ear. Listen
yeah.
with that ear. Pumpkin spice MCT oil.
That's absurd.
Pumpkin spice MCT oil, all right? Medium chain triglycerides, all right? This is great for your cell membranes. Literally, this is like instant cell food. Bypasses that normal process when you're trying to convert that chicken sandwich into human fuel, all right? The ATP, that conversion, it takes some work, all right? This is instant cell food. It doesn't have to go through that normal conversion. Also helps your body to shift over and start using ketones a little bit faster, so you become more of a fat burner.
Yeah.
Than a sugar burner. But now
appreciate that.
for the holidays, it's only limited time, guys.
Right.
So you got to go over, grab it right now. Pumpkin spice MCT oil. I'm a big fan.
In my coffee cup.
I'm a big fan of the strawberry emulsified.
yeah.
I didn't think I would even like it. It's like, what am I going to do with this?
That's odd.
But
yeah.
with lion's mane tea, with my cordyceps tea, I think it's absolutely amazing.
This is
and
bananas.
so literally.
I mean, well,
and
pumpkins,
so
rather.
I'll tell you the ingredients real quick, and you can check it out on its website as
I gotta
well.
have
So
it.
2 scoops of the protein. So this could be hemp force protein, which I'm a huge fan of their hemp force protein, or the new recovery protein. So the hemp force protein, vanilla acai specifically. We've got 1 tablespoon of the pumpkin spice emulsified MCT oil. 1 frozen banana. This is, again, post-workout. You got to earn this.
You got to earn it.
You got to
Banana.
earn it.
That's right. That's
All
right.
1/4 cup of pumpkin puree, organic, of course. You want to get that organic. 1 to 2 teaspoons of a sweetener, if you like. If you want to add a little bit more, I'm good with just the banana being in there. So this could
and
be
the vanilla acai is sweeten up.
right. Yeah, that's. And so this is just for those who are affiliated. So whatever sweetener of choice you want. 16 ounces, so 10 to 16 ounces of unsweetened coconut milk. Then we've got half teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice you throw in there, pinch of Himalayan salt, and then 1 cup of ice. And this should serve 2 people nicely.
Well,
Fantastic.
I'm glad that part was included because I'll be there. You just let me know when you're done with your workout.
So you might want to add a little bit more protein, though, if you're
Sure.
serving 2 people. So maybe four scoops
Okay,
of that goodness.
okay.
So check that out. Head over to
Love
onnit.com/model. So that's onnit.com/MODEL. Get hooked up with the hemp force protein, emulsified MCT oils, the krill oil, the Shroom Tech Sport, the Shroom Tech Immune, They've got the best stuff going, guys. Head
I'm
over, check
feeling
them
all
out.
dreamy. Thanks,
Now,
Aubrey.
let's get to the iTunes review of the week.
Yes. Well, this one says that we're the best health show on the internet. Says this from Marcus K. Mitchell. I routinely listen to multiple podcasts at higher rates of speed to get all the information I can. I have to slow the Model Health Show down to a regular speed because it's so rich with good content. I need to increase the absorption rate. Your many hours of research and your personal application of it to make sure you are giving us the best of the best is much appreciated. God bless you. And I raise a mug of blended mate tea with cordyceps, MCT oil, and English toffee stevia to your continued success. Keep up the good work, from Marcus.
I've got the biggest smile on my face, Marcus. Cheers to you, man. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for leaving that review. And everybody, thanks for leaving those reviews on iTunes. Keep them coming. It means so much to me. I've got a smile on my face and it lasts the whole day. Thank you. Now, let's get to our special guest and our topic of the day. Our guest today is Dr. Kellyann Petrucci, and she is the author of the New York Times bestselling book, Dr. Kellyan's Bone Broth Diet. And she is also the host of the PBS special, and this is serious business. When you got a PBS special,
That's right.
you're bossing it. You're straight up bossing it. PBS special, 21 Days to a Slimmer, Younger You.
Amen.
And she knows a thing or 20 about this. A weight loss and natural anti-aging transformation expert, Dr. Petrucci has a private practice in Birmingham, Michigan, and also is a concierge doctor for celebrities in New York City and Los Angeles. She is a board-certified naturopathic physician and a certified nutrition consultant. Dr. Petrucci is also a regular guest on television shows including The Doctors, The Dr. Oz Show, and national news programs, and has authored 6 books.
Get it?
6 books.
That's right.
But I think it's at 8 now, actually. And in addition, she is a regular contributor to the Huffington Post and Mind Body Green. And she's the driving force behind the popular website, drkellyann.com. And she is here today
She's ours.
on the Model Health Show. I'd like to welcome to the show, Dr. Kellyann Petrucci. How you doing today, Kellyann?
Hey, I am feeling so good about being here. I love the work that you're doing. I love spreading this message. So I am pumped up.
That makes me so happy.
She's motivated.
We got to hang out.
I am moved-elated. Is that it?
That's it. You're with me.
We got to hang out together, and I wanted to hang
cool.
out so much more. You know, some people you just vibe with, you just click with
Absolutely.
at CHS, at Consumer Health Summit. And you are somebody, you are literally glowing. Like, you know, you meet some people, the internet can trick you. There's smoke and mirrors, you know.
Oh, man, layers. You got to pick the hood up, baby.
Yeah.
Who said that?
But when I met you, it's just like you are walking the talk. You're glowing, just a beautiful. And if you can share with everybody, I know people don't like to drop
You're
that
not
age
even
on them.
supposed to ask.
But hey, I think
But
she's
for
very
this
proud of it.
purpose,
I'll tell you what. They stick through the whole program. At the end, I'm going to tell everybody how old I am.
deal.
And it just may surprise you. It
Pinky.
just may surprise you. And I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Pinky promise.
And we get to know
There
how
we
to do
go.
it. I'm in.
So let's start off with your superhero origin story. What got you interested in health and wellness in the first place?
You know, it's so funny because we all have our stories. And for me, it was pretty profound because growing up, as a traditional Italian family, one of the things that we really covet is having children. We all want to have children. But I had a problem growing up. It's called endometriosis. And this is a condition where a woman really goes through a lot of pain every month when she has her menstrual cycle. So my mother would taxi me around from doctor to doctor and say, what can you do to help her? And they said, well, you know what? She has to have surgery. She has to go on this medication. And by the way, she is likely to never have children.
Wow.
So if that doesn't get you to the core, and it's one of the reasons why I have been able to help so many patients over the last 24 years, is because I can tap into that like nobody's business, that feeling of hopelessness, that feeling of aimlessness, that feeling like you don't know where to get the answers, and you are holding something in your heart that you want so much and you don't know where to get it. I have been there. I know what that's like. So here I am in a situation where I'm told drugs, surgery, no kids. So it was a very pivotal moment for me because I had to decide, what do I want to do? You know, how do I want to take this? And I decided I have this thing inside of me. This will probably date me right now, but I have this thing, this Columbo thing. Like I always had to figure things out. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to take this at face value. I'm going to figure things out. So fast forward a couple years, as it turns out, I completely solved my problem. And I solved it quickly, easily, and now I have 2 beautiful boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me tell you, it paid off.
Yes.
And what I discovered, this was my first layer, what I discovered was the answers that you are seeking are often simple. The answers that you are seeking are often right in front of you. And that's what I found. And for me, I got the solution that so many of my patients, with so many different things that they come in with, the answer for me was in food. It was simply in food. And I made a very simple, one simple change, Shawn. And that simple change allowed me to have children. That is the magic and the power and how profound. This is not being dramatic. This is what I've seen over and over again with patients. People come in with every modern day disease you can imagine. They come in with, all kind of intestinal issues, Crohn's and colitis and diabetes and obesity and heart disease and all kind of autoimmune issues. And so many times we find the answers in food. And that's what I want everyone to really tap into. There are answers out there, and I know what it feels like not to be able to get them. And I really have found many of the answers through food.
So I've got a follow-up question for you, and I think that this is really important because there is so many different things that can come out off of something like that, an experience, and it puts you in a very powerful position to influence others and to be a source of inspiration and healing. But what was the thing that drove you to start your career in this? It's like you didn't just, were you always interested in medicine and health?
So here's how it went down for me. A lot of my friends, they were reading, fashion magazines or bridal what have you. I was literally, Shawn, reading magazines like the Diabetes Journal with like Mary Tyler Moore on it back then. So it is really, I have my interests and I have my passions, but I would take this a step further and to say health and wellness is embodied within me. It is truly who I am. It runs through my veins. It has been a passion and has been put inside of me. This special gift that I do have for this love that propels me to keep learning and growing and researching and understanding and having the ability to really have a forward thinking, to be progressive about the way I think about this and understanding the future of medicine. I did a lot of studying in Europe, in London, and through the Paracelsus Clinic in Switzerland. And I am certified in biological medicine. And so this is a very specialized European type of training, which helped me see everything very differently. And so that, again, created a lot of passion for me because I was able to see medicine futuristically and in a different way. And that really catapulted everything that you hear and see me doing now. So to ask me how I got into this, well, it really did push me. It pushed me out of the gate, what happened with endometriosis. It was the push out of the gate. But I can tell you, if I can just speak openly and honestly, God put something in me that just you can't shut down. You can't shut it down. And when you talk about that glow, when you see me, the glow is pure, unadulterated passion that I have every moment of every day from the minute I wake up. And thank God that I have this in me and that I ended up in this field because I can tell you many, many years later, it was the field for me. It was the right thing. And how many people can say at the end of the day, you know what? I love that career. That was right for me. I'm so glad I did this for a living. Well, I can honestly tell you sitting here, I'm fortunate enough to be one of those people that are of an advanced age and can say that my career has been a beautiful part of my life.
Oh, I love that so much. That's just amazing. So a big thing that you're known for today, that you've really pushed into culture in a big, big way, like the Times Square, like you got it big and bright in the bright lights, bone broth. You've really been somebody who's brought this out to everybody. So what got you interested in bone broth and like how did you discover it? How did this become a part of your practice?
Well, the first phase is the story I just told you about. That was my first aha moment. And that's actually layered because it was interesting. What happened to me when I turned 40 was interesting. I wasn't getting the same results with anything that I was doing that I once did. Yeah. That proverbial wall we talk about, I smacked dead into it. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it was so disheartening for me is because here I am, busy clinic, had really become a pioneer doctor, had been a problem solver for so many. And here I was standing on the clinic floor saying, why am I getting tired? Why is my hair getting thinner? Why has my skin started to lose its luster? Why am I starting to pack pounds on? Why am I just not feeling optimized like I normally am every day? What is going on? And so when I went to a lot of my colleagues, a lot of other doctors, and said, hey, what do you think's happening here? I got the same answer everywhere I went, every time. That was, well, you're 40 now. You're a mother. What do you expect? And here's where the genetic question comes in. And here's where that that thought process, that, Nancy Drew, I got to figure this out. I thought to myself, before I really understood ancestral medicine, before I really got it, I thought to myself, you know what? If I feel like this at 40, that means, and it's genetic, that means everybody has to feel this way at 40. And guess what? They don't. So that means there's something else. What is it? Long story short, I will take you to the important moment, which is I discovered bone broth. And what I found was when I started using bone broth, everything started changing for me. Because if you think about it logically, as a practitioner and as a human being, it makes sense that the name of the game to get what you want is to do two things. And that is to push nutrition into the cells and get toxins out, right? That's the name of the game. So what I realized was, as much as I thought I was nutrient sufficient, there were deficiencies. I had nutritional deficiencies, and the bone broth did so many things for me. I mean, I could talk for hours just about that. But basically, it provided me with what was lacking. And when you go through different turnstiles in your life, here's what I discovered. You need to readjust. You need to reassess. So I was at a point, and pivotal point in my life, where I needed to reassess and readjust, and I did. And so I started using bone broth. I used it on myself and those around me. Then I started using it in practice, and I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. As a scientist, my attention is first, and like it's so there. And the reason why my attention was so there, because it was working on young, working on old, it was working on women, it was working on men, it was working on all people of all walks of life. I was getting results, and that gets your attention. So I started really examining it. I started testing it out. I started testing out different, we did 3 different test groups in 3 different cities, started really saying, what exactly can this do? What is the real power here? And that's when my head spun right off my neck. I said, you mix this bone broth with these powerful foods, things like healthy fats, things like adding some things to really help the population of your microbiome, all of these things. You add these healthy foods, these fat-burning foods, in with the bone broth. That is the ultimate 1-2 punch. Wow, I'm blown away. Let's do it. That's how it happened.
Wow. Yeah.
So my hair started coming back in thicker. My skin got its luster back. My eyes started getting white and piercing white again, that sparkliness. I've never had weight issues since then. I mean, it's been easy. It's been easy. And I don't say that lightly, because I know the strife. I know the strife of weight loss resistance. When you're thinking, my gosh, I'm going up. You're up battle. It's like you're swimming. It's so difficult because you're thinking hormones and all these things that go into play. But it's really about regulation, and it's really about understanding the matrix of the body and how the matrix of the body really works. And so bone broth really answers so many things. It answers so many problems. It does so much for the body that, Shawn, I can be talking about the coolest things, all of the modalities and all the treatment protocols and all of these things I learned through European medicine, all of the stories I have, in my naturopathic class, there were only 2 Americans, myself and another woman. So I really learned a lot about cultural nutrition and how other countries did it. And there's so many things in which I could speak about. And here I am talking about bone broth. Yeah. And the reason why is because it's just that powerful.
Wow. I want to talk about this because, So because and I know that this happened for myself as well, and I've known about this and seen the benefits firsthand, but it was still just kind of back in the, in the back corners of my mind. It wasn't something I was so focused on. And then when I saw your book and I started to see it everywhere, and then I finally met you, I'm like, this is a big deal. Why is it such a big deal? And I've been in this field at a high level for a long time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's been something that, again, I've looked over personally. So I want to talk about what makes it so profound, and of course, just having you in my life now, I've been implementing this more often, and you see the benefits so quickly. It's kind of really strange that we've looked over it for so long. But first, before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the history. All right?
Yeah, the history is fascinating.
Yeah.
The history is fascinating. No, I love ancestral type of nutrition and medicine because it really answers the question of, do we have a nutritional blueprint? And I can tell you, after 20 plus years in this business, hell yeah, we have a nutritional blueprint. There are foods that work better with our body. There are foods that our body metabolizes better. There are foods our body digests better. And bone broth happens to be one of them. And here's what our hunter-gatherers knew. They knew this. And they actually used to warm stones by the fire and put them in the stomach of animals, in the pouches of the intestines of animals, and they would make broths. That's how far back this stuff goes. So I in no way invented bone broth. I'm just bringing it back on the table. The Victorian ages, they used to use bone broth. They used to bring them to the hospital to help, invalid patients. It goes on and on. So many cultures across the world have used this. I mean, one of the things that the Asian culture has done so beautifully is use broths in healing women post-childbirth. After they have children, they have fish broths. The Italians, oh my gosh, the Italians use all different kind of broths for so many different things. They use it in all meanings of cooking, all different kind of ways. Anytime a recipe calls for anything liquid, it's usually bone broth that's used. So many different cultures, and it goes way, way, way back. And if you think about a fireplace and you think about that cauldron on the fireplace, what was in there was bone broth, all parts of the animal. So you're talking about a really economical, we call it sustainable, economical. You're talking about using all parts of the animal, and there's something very special in that. And it's about, you think about the cycle of life and all of that. And it's just being responsible in how you eat. So there's all kind of reasons why, not just because it warms you down to your toes, not just because it makes you beautiful, not just because it makes you healthy, not just because it, does the three things that you have to have, which I'd love to talk about. And all the patients I've ever seen, I can tell you the three things that you must have to get what you want. Bone broth does all three of those things.
Yeah, I want to talk about those three things.
I want to know
Now,
what those 3 things are.
if you think, everybody listening, when you think back at any of those movies from, the old days, like the medieval times or even earlier, or anything like Game of Thrones, for example, or, anything that's even like a little bit more geeked out, like the Middle Earth and that kind of thing, where it's got this older vibe with knights and things. One of those things that are in those movies is people are drinking soup and having broth and having soups. And it's because it's a part of that time period, and even further back. And like she said, it's mind blowing, using hot stones to heat the fluid and that kind of thing. But it's for a purpose. They're trying to extract nutrients that you can't get in any other way. Like some animals, literally, they'll chew on bones and break that stuff down and extract those nutrients. But we do it in another way.
They want
the marrow specifically.
And the marrow is... So there's a couple of words, and when I say these words, I'm going to really, I want everyone that's listening and watching to really pick up on these words. And so one of those words is marrow, because let me tell you about what's in the marrow, in the long bones. You cannot find a better blood builder. It is impossible. It does not exist. Marrow builds your blood. And here's what you want for your blood. So I want everyone to think about this. We talk about, are you really what you eat, and all of these oversimplifications of things. And if you think about it, when you take food in, that food is part and parcel of making your blood. Okay. Your blood is part and parcel, has everything to do with making your cells. And guess what your organs are? Just guess. Your organs are cells. That's what they are. So don't think what you eat does not affect your viscera or your organs, which, is the powerhouse behind everything that you do, right? So this is really important stuff. So marrow goes in and builds those cells. It's upbuilding. Think about it like we know proteins, that we know they're upbuilding. Marrow is upbuilding. And that's why I love it so much. And if you want your cells to flow like a river, you don't want them to be clogged and stuck like a swamp. So the environment, we call it the internal milieu in Europe. It's the internal milieu. Your internal milieu is exceedingly important. And part of that is building the blood. And we can do that beautifully with marrow.
Yes, yes. So that's one of the big components that you're going to find. Also, let's talk about some of those other really rare and wonderful things. Let's talk about collagen, for example.
Yeah. So collagen is the glue that holds all of us together. And we often lose collagen as we get older. In fact, we start actually losing collagen, profoundly enough, at about 25 years old. It starts to decrease. So a lot of the creams and a lot of the things that we see on the market, they're collagen packed. They're full of collagen. This is euthanizing. It makes your skin plump. It makes it beautiful. Here's what bone broth does. Bone broth actually helps your body mainline its own natural collagen source. And let me talk about why that's important, because it strengthens your skin. It strengthens your skin. I call it Spanx for the face. That's what collagen is. So if you think about your skin cells, you think about bouncy balls, okay? So as you age over time, these bouncy balls start to deflate. And so here's the issue with a lot of the fillers and a lot of the Botox and a lot of the things we're using. And there's no judgment here on my part at all. I have chosen not to do that. It does not matter. I mean, it works. Some people, it makes them much more joyful, and that's great. But here's the difference. When you use something like a filler or Botox, you're concentrating on one area of the face, one area. The difference between that and bone broth and the collagen enhancement that bone broth can bring you is that you're focusing on the whole demeanor, the whole face, all of it. It gives you a natural, beautiful, lustrous glow all over your face. So it's really the foundation of everything, keeping those skin cells plump and keeping the nutrition in the skin cells, because a lot of the diets out there, and I have to express this, they make your skin look worse. A lot of the diets, they pull nutrients, they pull these natural fats and all these healthy fats that we have. It pulls them out of the cells and it deflates them. You don't want your skin cells deflated. You want them like bouncy balls. Nothing works better that I've seen in practice ever, even pharmaceutically, than bone broth.
Yeah, you're going to see everybody listening, and why I really am just so excited and grateful to have you on is that I'm telling you here now, if you're not already seeing this, everybody, you're going to see a lot more beauty care products and also foods that are including collagen as the years go by here. In the next couple years, really, you're going to see a huge wave of this. And it's already happening right now. You know, maybe your favorite protein powder, like there's going to be collagen proteins. This is a great source of amino acids, you know, these building blocks for all of your tissues. Like when we look at you, we're seeing your amino acids. We're seeing that collagen or lack thereof. That's why this is so valuable.
I so appreciate what you just said, because I tell you, as a doctor and even as a human being, I can tell you what I've learned is your physiology doesn't lie, right? So many parts of your physiology, how you show up, you can't lie about these things. And what shows up in your skin, and, you know, I've become, all because of all of these years of doing this, kind of like the bionic woman in a sense, where when I see someone, I'm looking at the matrix and it's like, you naturally start doing that over time.
Yep.
And I can see the levels of people with depleted collagen. I can see people who would be so benefited by the use of marrow, and it's most of us. You know, it's kind of like checking vitamin D. Have I ever seen a normal in practice? Never seen a normal vitamin D, ever. It's the same. You know, you can see so many of these nutrient depleted people and understand that our country, our world, I'm talking globally. I mean, I was just at the UN. I mean, I want to go global with this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we can benefit so much from the nutrients that this has to offer. And the most important thing that I think the bone broth does, it heals the gut.
Yes. Yeah.
And it does it in such a beautiful way. And so if you picture your skin and you get a sunburn on your skin and you say, how can I make this feel better? Well, you'd apply aloe vera and you'd say, okay, this is going to soothe my skin. This is going to heal my skin. Well, imagine now your intestines, 25 feet, coiled up inside. Imagine 10,000 square feet of surface area. Imagine that your body has something in them called microbes. Microbes, these are bugs. We're literally bags of bugs, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know that. We're literally bags of bugs, and it's our job to get these bugs working for us and not against us. And keeping the gut healthy is primary. It's primary to this point. And so bone broth goes in. Cooked collagen is gelatin, and that gelatin goes in through that 10,000 square surface area, and it heals and it soothes, just like aloe vera does to a sunburn. It does that to your intestines. It goes in there, it heals, it soothes, and I can see the health of someone's gut in a second, because how your gut is, as your face says, as your skin says.
Wow, that's profound, and something I've mentioned this on several episodes of how this internal environment determines your external environment, and specifically your gastrointestinal tract and your liver. Like you wear that stuff on your face,
liver.
you know.
Oh, my goodness.
And so in your book, you actually cite some research showing that gelatin specifically stabilizes gut mucosa and also decreases damage from excess acidity, which, we've been talking about this a little bit on the show as well. When we talk about a really acidic environment, that's getting too binary and too black and white for people, because your body, certain parts of your body should be more acidic than others. And we can't just kind of compartmentalize this. It's a wonderful system. But when certain things that we do can make it a little bit more extreme in certain areas of our body, it can hurt you. And it's going to leach and pull nutrients from your bones, from your tissues to help to kind of buffer that. And so bone broth can be healing in that. And there's research to back this up. And one other thing I want to share really quickly, that I don't want to look over this and how important this is. When we talk about marrow and all of the immune regulating factors that it has, right? Your immune system is really the whole show. Even when we're talking about problems with gut integrity, you're going to get into a situation where you're seeing autoimmune conditions take place, right? So these things are really powerful. If you just go to Dr. Google and look up benefits of bone marrow and maybe, with the immune system or with the gut, it's really awesome to see this. And there's more data coming out on this as time goes by. But what's so beautiful about this is that this has been around a long time, like the whole time. So I want to get people reconnected with that feeling and understanding, one other thing that you shared as well, just citing how simple, we've been chicken soup, right?
Right.
We've been talking about this or knowing about this in culture for a long time, but it's so like, what is this Campbell stuff? Like, what is that? It's so far removed from what we're really looking for. But the research showing even just simple chicken broth helping to reduce neutrophils, these kind of pro-inflammatory markers.
40%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's exactly it.
And it's interesting what you said, because, the kind of the overhanging fruit to everything that we're saying, and I love that you brought this point up, is your immune system. We want our immune system fired up and working so well for us, because at the end of the day, everything rises and falls on your immune system.
Yeah.
And so everything that we're talking about, even something we're talking about collagen and how it's affecting your external, but understand all these things play a part in this big picture that we're speaking of, which is your immune system.
Yes.
And it's a gift. It's a gift to have an immune system that's really working, because we all know, like, feeling bad every day, it's the worst. It's the worst. I mean, and to feel, and so what I'm saying is, here is a treasure trove for you. Here is a treasure trove for you. This is a treasure trove of nutrients that are so special. You've got to pay attention and understand that you can get them in fish, you can get them in beef, you can get them in chicken, you can get them in turkey, you can get them. There's so many choices here that really it's a traditional. It's just such a tradition that's so special that we need to look into it.
Yeah, and we want to talk more about that as well. The different sources and how to go about getting this the right way. But I want to talk about some more of the benefits that are here. So what about the glucosamine and chondroitin? What about that?
Glucosamine and chondroitin. So there was a study that was done that actually showed that glucosamine and chondroitin in the broth are as effective in healing knee pain due to osteoarthritis as the prescription drug Celebrex. Okay?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I was on that drug, by the way.
Were you?
Yep.
He knew.
Yeah. So as were many, many, many others.
Yep.
So here again is something that's in the broth. It's natural and innate in the broth. this chondroitin. And I'm telling you, this is it's so much more special in this form, in the natural form, because your body is going to recognize it in a whole different kind of way. It attaches to the cells differently. It's very different in how the mechanism works. But if you have achy joints, which is one of the primary things that doctors see in their office, one of the primary things that we hear about is my joints ache. And that leads to inflammation, which is a whole other conversation, because so many of us are walking around inflamed, silent and deadly inflammation, which, by the way, is so easy to detect if you want to do this. So the bone broth really does a great job at healing and soothing the joints, which is why so many athletes have jumped on board with bone broth.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know,
so many.
I'm glad that you brought up this whole conversation of inflammation as well. At the end of the month, people taking glucosamine and chondroitin had far lower levels of C-reactive protein. And C-reactive protein, this is something I've been testing for a long time as well. When people come in and looking at with their blood work, this is like one of the biggest markers of inflammation in the body, because you might have an infection in your teeth or something like that that's impacting other areas of your body. You know? And so you can actually understand, like, inflammation can be like a seed of a whole slew of other problems. And so something that can help to kind of put the fire out, you know, like the word inflammation, inflame, like it means internal fire. All right. There's fire going on inside of you, but not the good kind. It's not like a little sexy candle. It's like there's a little forest fire going on. Smokey the Bear is going to be upset with you. He's going to be like, rah, rah. He's going to be like, rah, rah. All right. So that's another thing. So the glucosamine and chondroitin, but also just really quickly, Celebrex. So this is something else important right here now. So Celebrex was one of my cocktail of drugs that I had when I was struggling with my spine condition all those years ago. And the crazy thing about it, number one, was that the side effects. All right. So my side effect, little did I know at the time, I didn't know this till years later, was the restless leg syndrome. So I'm taking this for my pain, for my issues with my spine, and I already have trouble sleeping because of the pain, but now I have restless leg syndrome. And it wasn't a thing yet. This was in 2000. It wasn't a thing yet. So I'm just like, what's wrong with my legs? Why won't my legs just won't stop? Like, that's how I would describe it. Like, they just won't stop, right? And it's not like they're like, you looking at them like kicking around. It's just like they feel like they're moving. So it's a really weird, but now it has its own a drug attached to it. So now it's got a name and everything. But it was because of the Celebrex. And so you can get these benefits without side effects, number one. Number two, I love that you mentioned this, Dr. Kellyann, that this is also in a bioavailable form that your body recognizes. Instead of taking the glucosamine and chondroitin supplement, how about we get it from the source, right? We get it from the source, and we can also get all these other beneficial factors coming along with it, including, if you could touch on, like, the vitamins and minerals that are in there. It's like an extremely rich source of those as well, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. It's incredible. There are amino acids, which are so important, and it's loaded with these amino acids. And again, think about amino acids like upbuilding. This is when we upbuild our body, that moves us towards health, right? So there's things that we do that move us away from health. There's things that we do that move us towards health. These are very upbuilding. They're good for hair, skin, nails, and minerals. Let's talk about the minerals. There's minerals in the bone broth, and minerals are important for every channel and every gate, every operating channel and gate in your body. So if you think about your body and think about, you're just sitting here right now and you're listening to this podcast, or you're watching it, your heart's beating without you having to think about it. Your body is digesting without you having to think about it. You know, all of these mechanisms and channels and gates that are in your body, and your body's innate, oftentimes they are working because of minerals. The minerals are driving these gates, specifically your heart rate, your heartbeat, a lot of these things. So minerals are really important, and so many of us are deficient in minerals. So many of us with adrenal problems, and we feel tired all the time. We feel sluggish all the time. If any of these words are really touching you, minerals are oftentimes a part of this symptomology, and the solution is putting them back in your body. As simple as that. Bone broth is a beautiful way to bring these amino acids, to bring these minerals, to bring this beautiful protein in the most natural form, to bring these proteins into your body, to bring these good fats into your body. Everything that I'm saying that bone broth has in it, they're all drivers of the body. Yeah. And guess what? You're getting all of this without muck. So a lot of times we feel like there's a consequence to pay. Well, here's this protein bar, it's got 15 grams of protein, but it has da 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 da. There's no da 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 in here. You're getting the straight shot of good stuff without any of the caloric crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Hello. Really. So it's really, it's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And that's why I spend my life now talking about it, because it's just that stinking good.
That's the best marketing. There's no da-da-da-da-da-da. All right. Put that on a t-shirt, print it up.
Don't want no da-da-da-da-da.
So I want to talk about something else tied to your incredible program. But first, really quick, the mineral, I just thought about every process in your body, everything that's going on, there's an enzymatic key to it. Yes. Enzymes are the foundation behind everything. But enzymes don't work without minerals, right? So these are like the little codes to turning on processes for everything that you do. And this is a rich source of these bioavailable minerals as well. So, but what I want to talk about next is this other component we've done an entire show talking about the benefits of this, but not in combination with something so smart. Like my wife actually just recently, maybe 2 months ago, she did your protocol. Essentially, this is before I even read your book, and the results were so amazing and such a big difference from what she struggled with before when we used to do fasting programs back in the day. And we've done, dozens and dozens of programs. So I want to talk about the incredible, delicious meals that you have, the bone broth a little bit more, and also some strategic fasting right after this quick break. We'll be right back.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. With all of the things that we're exposed to today, the environmental toxicity, the weird stuff showing up in our food supply, we've got to do things to really support our immune system. Our immune system is really running the show on so many different levels to keep us healthy. And one of the most powerful things for supporting a healthy immune system is making sure that we're getting in some immunomodulators. So what does that mean? These are substances that can help to elevate our immune system in response to things that might be trying to creep their way into our body, into our cells, and defend us against those things. But it can also bring the immune system back down, calm it down if things are running too hot, aka we're dealing with some autoimmunity. We need things that are intelligent. Many drugs out there that are pushed through pharmaceutical companies, though they mean well, they push your immune system in one direction, and that can really mess things up on the back end, leading to AKA side effects. So to avoid that, getting some natural immunoregulators are going to be a powerful thing you add into your life. How I do that, and it's been a consistent basis pretty much every single day for the past 3 months now, I've been using every day, and even had it this morning, the incredible mushroom elixirs from Four Sigmatic. So head over to foursigmatic.com/model. So that's FORSIGMATIC.com/model. And you're going to get 10% off all of these amazing superfood elixirs. My favorite is the chaga, and chaga has been clinically shown to increase your NK cell activity, so your natural killer cells, over 300%. It's also the most powerful antioxidant that we've ever seen in the history of humanity that humans actually consume. Powerful antioxidant, powerful anti-cancer, powerful immune system regulator. So that's what I use in the morning. I'll get some chaga, and sometimes I'll have it straight, or I'll blend it with some hot water, some healthy fat. So this could be some ghee, this could be some grass-fed butter, this could be some coconut oil, some MCT oil, things like that. With a little bit of cinnamon, maybe some other fun medicinal herbs you can throw in there. But this has been the daily thing that I've done for the past few months, and I highly recommend you start doing the same thing. They also have the mushroom coffees, and my wife is a big fan of these. And so the mushroom coffee mix has cordyceps and chaga in there. And today she ran out. She was like, where's my coffee? And she's not even, ever since we've been together, she hasn't been a coffee drinker, but this has been her daily thing. She loves the way it makes her feel, and she doesn't get some weird kind of caffeine spike and crash as well. So head over and check them out. foursigmatic.com/model for 10% off. Now back to the show. And we are back. And today we are talking with New York Times bestselling author, Dr. Kellyann Petrucci. And she is just amazing. Just a bowl full of amazing, or bone broth, should we say. So I want to talk about and dive in and talk about this other part of your protocol, which I was surprised to see. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, yes, people don't understand how valuable it is to incorporate some strategic fasting into your life in general, but also you incorporate it into your program. So why did you put this into your program? Let's talk about it.
Well, again, when I talked about how I hit that wall at 40, I believe that is what was the driving force behind all of my changes. Because I was already eating well, I was doing so many of the things, but the fasting and adding the bone broth made all of the difference. And then I started using it on other people, and people have become so much healthier, Shawn, and lost so much weight. I even went on the doctors with, the show The Doctors with a patient that went on this program with fasting because he lost triple digits. I mean, it's crazy, triple digit weight loss. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So, and this all can happen because fasting is so powerful to the body. It has very powerful effects. So here's one of the complaints that I heard when using fasting so many times in my career. There was a discomfort level. A lot of people couldn't shoot through the discomfort level. And so I thought to myself, how can I manage this? How can I mitigate this? What about the people who say I get weak? What about the people who say it doesn't work for me? And all of these other things that we hear. Well, what if you got the same results by using bone broth? I call it mini fasting. It's a little different. Using bone broth mini fasts and eating the healthy foods that we can talk about, but implementing both of them to really get in there and burn, and here's the word, burn stored fat. And we're talking stored fat. And you know what I mean. I'm talking about the fat here. I'm talking about the fat here. I'm talking about the fat here. I'm talking about the fat back there.
Fat back.
You can't get off.
For those people listening, she pointed at her booty. She pointed at her underarms and the belly. She did a lot of pointing. Oh, the chin too. Yeah, she hit the chin. It was wonderful. So if you haven't seen, check it out on YouTube, by the way. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's what you want to you want to do. You want to go through and you want to burn that stubborn stuff. Yeah. So I often hear about women, particularly over 40, that have this weight loss resistance. In other words, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, and they get in that whole cycle of that holistic. It's just absolutely that hamster wheel of hell. So this really, and understand, I love exercise. I love fitness. I mean, I wrote a book about it. I love fitness, but really so much of it has to do with how you eat, how you learn to eat your food, your food values, and understanding food principles, a couple of food principles. So this is a foundational, fundamental program that I use when I want to bring it back. So inflammation that we talked about, and I have to say this, and I don't mean to be all over the place, but this needs to be said. One of the reasons why I can eat the way that I can, which is 80%, pretty clean, and 20% I can do what I want to do and enjoy things differently, is because I don't have the inflammation in my body. Believe it or not, is that getting that inflammation down makes all the difference in how the amount of personal play that you can have with your diet. And fasting is a really great way to say, you know what? I need to pull it back. I'm starting to really feel like I'm putting more weight on, or I've got weight that I can't get off of, or I want to feel better. The fasting is beautiful. And one of the things that it does is it releases a hormone called glucagon. And glucagon, it's really spectacular at burning that stored fat we talked about. Mm-hmm. So that's really important. So it does that. Yeah. It also really, human growth hormone, we know, is like it's everything. To look young is about growth hormone, right? So that's why we like the resistance training and a lot of the training that we do. It actually does so beautifully with human growth hormone. And BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, it's a protein, and this protein is really important because it helps your body manage and mitigate the way your body uses sugar, the way your body manages sugar. So all of these problems that we're having with resistance, insulin resistance, the BDNF is very good at helping your body manage that, which helps you put on much less weight every year. So these are all really good tools to become a natural fat burner. These are really good tools to train your body how to manage insulin, because we know that insulin, lays down fat. So we have to be really careful of how we go about all of this. Yeah. So really from a biochemical aspect and from a physiological aspect, it's just metabolically, the fasting makes a lot of sense. And you can fast with bone broth and still get the same results that you would with an intermittent fasting with no food at all. And that's what's really spectacular about this.
Yeah.
So you get no discomfort. You're sipping on the bone broth and you get the growth hormone effect. You get the BDNF effects. You're going to have all of the effects that fasting can bring to you, cleaning up all those cells, going in there like a power tool. Fasting, it's like releasing a power tool in your body that cleans up all of the debris and all of the things that don't serve your body anymore. And that's why I love it.
Yeah. So I want to just kind of go through each of these a little bit step by step for everybody, because I don't want people to glance over how powerful this is with when we talk about glucagon. When we think about our pancreas, so most of us jump right to insulin, and insulin is kind of your body's storage hormone, right? It's going to store potential fat, and also if there's insulin resistance, that stuff is going to start getting shipped to your liver. This glucose in your body is going to get converted into fat, lipogenesis, the creation of fat. So it's not just that one thing that your pancreas is producing. It's kind of a binary system. If you keep pounding down, you're eating over and over and over and over. Breakfast pushing lunch, pushing dinner, breakfast pushing lunch, pushing dinner, breakfast snack, pushing lunch, pushing snack, dinner, snack. It's just like this continuous process, and not understanding we've evolved with periods of fasting. This is something that's not abnormal. Yes. It's just doing it in a strategic, advantageous way. And one of the big benefits is what you said with the human growth hormone. For us to be more vigorous and to be able to, because it's about survival first. And what if there is a famine, there's a lack of food? Your body's going to turn up that human growth hormone, that youth hormone, to help everything else in your body function better, from your energy to maintain your lean muscle mass and to burn fat. And so you actually put in your book this study here, 24-hour fast, human growth hormone increased an average of 1,300%.
1,300% and
women.
Nearly 2,000% in men.
Crazy pants, right? That's a big juicy squeeze there, right? And so glucagon is going to get activated. Not just, again, your pancreas has it's either doing insulin with that continuous, as soon as you stop, glucagon is going to kick on. And instead of being a storage hormone, it's a removal hormone. So it's going to open those cells up so that your body can burn fat that's getting stored, right? Powerful stuff, but it's not active unless you pull the brakes, push the brakes on all of that sugar coming into your system and all the continuous food. And that's what's great about the bone broth as that powerful nutrition source while fasting, is that it's not going to elevate insulin. So guess what? Exactly. You're going to be able to produce that glucagon. And I love that you brought that up. So it's wonderful.
Yes. And, fasting alone is going to lower your insulin levels, making your cells more sensitive to insulin. Yeah. So when your cells are more sensitive to insulin, you're going to store less fat and you're going to burn more. That's just the way your body works.
Yeah. And one of the tips that you put in your book, that's why I love you. I just love you. All right. So many of these things I've brought into this show, and you brought it into this program in your book. And it's just like, we've been on this parallel track, but you did this. And you mentioned with the fasting that a lot of these results people are going to get with the BDNF, with the glucagon benefits, with the human growth hormone, some of that stuff can get blunted if you're taking antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E. And you mentioned that, yeah, sure, you can, take your multivitamin, that kind of thing, but you need to be careful about taking too much, or even taking at all, additional antioxidant supplements, because you might blunt some of those benefits. I mentioned this on a recent episode in regards to exercise. So they weren't seeing the same, because it's a hormetic stressor, exercise, and it's blunting some of those benefits that you would get from exercise by taking too much. And it's not that these are bad. It's just certain times we don't want to take them. We want to take them like maybe along with food, or on opposite ends of your workout instead of right with your workout or right after. So thank you for putting that in here. And I'm glad that you put that note for everybody.
It's important. It all makes a difference. It really does, especially for people that we're talking to and that have that level of frustration, that have that level of aimlessness. All these little tips, they could be the thing that could push you over to getting that vision, whatever that vision is that you have for yourself, because the body is constantly renewing and regenerating, and our cells all have a life cycle. The thing is, Shawn, if you give your body the right raw material during the life cycle of your cells, you are going to get the results. So you can have that vision of yourself. You can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we're brother and sister, like we're together. All right, now, so let's talk about, how do we make bone broth? Let's talk about some tips here. for everybody. So bone broth, okay, how do we do it? How do we actually make this something that's simple and doable for everybody?
Yeah. So the whole premise behind bone broth is that really it's slow cook. So if you take a can of Progresso soup, minus all of the additives and chemicals and things like that, versus bone broth, the difference really is when you buy canned soup, it's cooked very fast and you lose so much from that. They're often very nutritionally devoid. There's really nothing in there of any glamour at all. So there's a lot of shortcomings versus bone broth. And one of the big cachets is the slow cooking. So you have three options in which you can make bone broth. One is a slow cooker, and I have to add that's my favorite way. The second is a stock pot, and that's your traditional, that's like the cauldron over the stove. And then the third way is a pressure cooker, and that's cooking it fastly. That's kind of the modernized bone broth, if you will. And when I first started exploring bone broth in a pressure cooker, when I first started using bone broth in a pressure cooker, I was very turned off by the fact that there could not be anything gelatinous happening in cooking this bone broth for 4 hours. But I have to say, I've retracted that. And here's why I did, because all of these readers were writing in and saying, Dr. Kellyann, here's what I did. I made it with a pressure cooker, and look at my gelatinous broth. So I thought, you know what, I need to examine this a little bit more. And actually, you can get good broth by using a pressure cooker. So I will allow that to be one of the choices. So no matter what choice you use, understand that you can use anything. You can use turkey, chicken, you can use fish, anything that you want. Whatever moves you, you can use. So let's just say we're using the slow cooker. And it's the basic premise for all three pieces of kitchen equipment. So say we're going to use the slow cooker because it's my favorite. Yeah. And say we were going to make chicken. You could actually do it this quickly, and this is actually a tip. You could take a chicken carcass, take the chicken off of the carcass, right? Put the chicken carcass in the slow cooker. And this is so simple and so easy. And I tell people, do not get too cognitive about this. This is like quick, easy, get in your groove. I'm telling you, the busy mom with 4 kids can do this. And if you look at my life, I'm telling you, if you look at my life on a graph and you say, there's no way this lady's making her own broth, I'm telling you, it's really that and that easy. You take an onion, bam, bam, 2 chops, you 4-way it. You throw it in there. You take carrots, let's say 3 carrots, whatever. Bam, 1 chop. You can even just break them, throw them in there. Okay, celery. Bam, 1 chop, throw them in there. How long does that take? That's nothing. You want to put water, and this is an important tip. You want to put water about 1 inch over all of this because you want it to be super gelatinous. And if you put too much water in it, you're going to lose that. So about 1 inch over all of that, your chicken carcass, your celery, onions, and carrots. And I use celery, onions, and carrots in any broth that I make because that just gives it that hearty flavor. And then from that point, that's your base. So think about that as your broth base, no matter what you're using, chicken, beef, turkey, whatever. That's your base. And then from there, you put whatever herbs, spices, whatever it is that I like lemongrass. I use lemongrass. You just take the stalks, 1 slice down them, throw them in there, and that is it. Now, you can add lemon if you want to add some lemon juice. That will help you pull a little bit more out of the bones. There was a lot of talk about adding apple cider vinegar to broths and lemon to broths. I can tell you that I've tested this out. You don't need that. You're still going to get gelatinous broth, whether or not you add the lemon, whether or not you use the vinegar. And some people actually have issues with the vinegar. So I said, can they actually get just as much value without it? Let's see. Let's test that out. And you can. So I am very comfortable. I talk to a lot of chefs out there as well, and they completely agree that you can get really good broth without adding that. So you put the lid on the slow cooker and you cook it for 18 to 24 hours. Think about it like this. Thicker bones. The thicker the bone is, the more cooking time you're going to need. So beef's going to need a little bit more than chicken. Chicken's going to need a little bit less than a fish. And fish, you want white fishes that are non-oily. They tend to work the best. If you use oilier fishes, it's not going to hurt you in any way. It's just not going to be as flavorful, and it's just not going to gel in the same way. So All I can say is that don't think too much about it. Just stick stuff in a pot, whether it's a stock pot and you're just simmering it over the pot for 18 to 24 hours, or if it's a fish broth, no matter what, or you're using the slow cooker or using the pressure cooker. The pressure cooker is about 4 hours. You just throw stuff in there and you just go. You just throw it. So for beef, I will say that I like to add in beef, I like to add short rib. I like to add some shank in there. And the reason why is because it gives it a really, really nice, rich flavor. And so you want bones that have as much cartilage as you can, because that cartilage is where the collagen comes from. And that cooked collagen is gelatin. And that's that stuff that we talked about that works like aloe vera on the gut,
Well,
right? So we want that gelatin. We want
definitely.
We want it jiggly. Jiggly is good. It's one place where jiggles are good.
Let's go. Now, what about where would people get these bones from if they're not just buying like the whole animal?
Yeah. So here is my best advice. This is so important. Get a relationship with your local butcher. I'm telling you, this is an important relationship to have. So, okay. So really have this relationship with your butcher. It's a really important relationship to have. And you tell them what you're doing. You tell them that you're making broths. And you know what? Say, I'm making this chicken broth. You know, what bones do you have available? So there's so many places that actually have bones available. And funny enough, a lot of places have bones because they have them for dogs. They actually have them for dogs. But you can eat chicken feet. I get chicken feet at a local farm. There's CSAs. There's places online like US Wellness Meats is a good place to get bones. They have bones online. You can get them there. So you've got places online. You've got your local butcher, which is the absolute best recommendation. You've got farmers markets that oftentimes have them. You can speak to your CSA and see if they can get those for you on a regular basis. But really having this relationship with your butcher and is what I have found to be the most effective. And the difference between organic or pastured and non-pastured, there is a significant difference. And so people ask me, do I have to have, the highest quality? And what I say is, when you can afford the highest quality, you absolutely get the highest quality. But here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think really honestly about this whole allocation of money and saying, I can't afford it. And I want you to do, all I ask people to do is be honest in your evaluation. Can you really afford it? Can you really not afford it? Just be honest in that evaluation and think about how you can make that happen. Because there's no way around answering this, that nutrition in the animal, that the health of that animal absolutely transfers over to you. It transfers over to you. There is no question about that. But I can also tell you this from being a practitioner and from talking with so many people. I can also tell you that absolutely for sure, eating broth, any form of broth, slow cook like this, is mounds better than so many of the foods that we have in our diet that you could replace with this a broth and make a world of difference to your cells and to your health and to your overall being.
Awesome.
So that's how I feel about that. Yes.
I love that. And also the organic, obviously, if you're going to invest a little bit more, but you don't put a big stamp on that, making it a necessity, but that's something also to consider. And what about storage of the bone broth? Because we're going to have a nice amount of broth. What do we do with it?
So you put it in mason jars. They work the best. They work great. So you put it in mason jars and you can store it up to, and get this, you can store it up to 6 months and you're totally golden. In the refrigerator for about a week. You can keep it in the refrigerator for about a week. No problem at all. It's just, it's so easy. And you can actually put some in ice cube trays. And what you do is, when you have a recipe that calls for some liquid, you just stick a couple of the ice cubes, you throw it in the recipe. And I do that all the time, and it's wonderful.
Awesome. That's really cool. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah.
That's a goodie.
So these tips are super valuable, and we really do need to just not overcomplicate things and make plenty of this amazing broth and keep it stored, and we can come back to it. But you've also have the other component to this, to the bone broth diet itself. And this was, again, New York Times bestselling book. You had the strategy all laid out and even the fasting days, when to do that kind of stuff. But what about the food? What about the days that you are eating? And I want to kind of switch gears and talk about that, because I have your brand new bone broth cookbook here. Oh my, I already told you what
It's got
recipe.
tons of broth.
I'm gonna keep it to myself and what recipe I'm making first, like when I get home. But thank you so much for sending this to me, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about the recipes in here. What is the foundation? What's the principle behind the recipes? And my goodness, you look great, and this food looks great too.
Thank you. So I always talk about fat burning foods, and really fat burning foods with the bone broth. It's just such a beautiful 1-2 punch. And so the foods there's a lot of bone broth recipes in there that you're absolutely going to love. And I'd like to say that this is totally evergreen stuff. This is not, you can't rummage through other websites and find these recipes. These are all like homegrown, real good old back to nature foods. And it's about really knowing how to build a plate. So all of the foods that I have in here, they're all they're very much aligned with who I am and my principles, which so many people have the same principles, which are they're all gluten-free. These recipes are dairy-free. These recipes are really thought out. So you have the primary principles, which are really healthy proteins, really healthy fats, and the right kind of carbohydrates. And we know that there's 2 types of carbohydrates. There's those fibrous type of carbohydrates, and there's those energy type of carbohydrates. And I have to say, what's really important in losing weight or in really managing how food can fuel you is understanding when you need the energy carbohydrates, when you need more of those fibrous carbohydrates, and just really good protein and really good fats. That's how you build a plate. I love berries. I talk a lot about berries. I use berries in diets, and here's why. One of the things that I propose, and by the way, you can't just say this with a main publisher like Rodale. You have to test it out. You can't just throw stuff around. So I say on the book, lose weight in the inches. Or lose weight and your wrinkles. And so one of the things that you can do naturally to prevent wrinkles is you eat berries, because they're like getting, it's like a natural sunscreen, because all of the antioxidants are so rich in so many nutrients and antioxidants that actually help you prevent sunburn, helps you naturally prevent sunburn. So it's really good for wrinkling and so forth. So all the foods in there, they are your natural wrinkle blasters. They are foods that are going to help you become this natural fat burner. They are foods that are going to help you heal the gut, because I talked about the 3 things that you really need, and I said I was going to circle back to it. So what you need to do to propel forward, I promise you, if there's one stamp I can say, if at the end of the road someone would say, Dr. Kellyann, what did you learn in practice? I would say this: if you put all of my patients in a football field and you were to dilute out what made them better, what made them happier, what made them younger, what made them slimmer, I would say, well, they achieved 3 things. Number 1, they reduced inflammation. They killed inflammation. They melted inflammation out of their body. Number 2, they healed their gut. And number 3, they trained their body to become a natural fat burner. That's what they did, and that's how they got what they wanted. And so every recipe that you see in this book is engineered specifically for that. I want you to reduce inflammation. I want you to heal the gut, and I want you to become that natural fat burner. And that's what they do.
Awesome. Oh my goodness, you're the best. And guys, I'm not kidding. Like my stomach is like, hello, Shawn. Like it's time to make something happen. So we've got coconut cake with deep chocolate frosting. We've got Korean rice ball. We've got stuffed chicken. We've got iced coffee gelatin. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. We've got strawberry pineapple coconut pops. We've got the Brussels sprouts with bacon. We've got the bacon covered chicken strips. Oh, it's crazy. We've got stone fruit and berry crisp in here. Amazing desserts, amazing entrees, sides. This book is fantastic, and it's just amazing. It's a beautiful book, but also, the recipes are really simple too. This is so good. So you've got right now when we're releasing this, people are going to be able to pre-order the book, but they're going to get some bonuses. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are the bonuses people are getting with this?
Sure. So one of the things that I developed that I'm so excited about is what I call my 10-10-10 guide. And this is 10 shake recipes. This is 10 cocktail recipes. And this is 10 bone broth soup recipes. So again, everything that I do, and I know I said cocktail recipes, I know I said it, but I even developed cocktail recipes that are not going to annihilate your gut. They're not going to give you a hangover. They're not going to make you feel shaky and wonky and weird and all that stuff. So my 10-10-10 guide, everything I do, that I put out and I put forward is done extremely well. It's very, the graphics are beautiful. The pages look great, easy to read. You will love the recipes. So I've got that in there, the 10-10-10 guide. And also, you will also get the Bone Broth Revolution that I'm holding. I'm holding that in February. Yeah. You will get free admission to that, and you will love that. Mm-hmm. You get like an extra mega dose, Dr. Kellyann, and all my antics. You get lots of tips, and it's going to be really wonderful. And you also get a coupon to the Dr. Kellyann store, which is the same price as the book.
Yes,
so I am giving the book away, $27.99 coupon for the collagen products and the bone broth products that you're going to find on my website that you are going to love, love, love.
I could not believe when I saw that, actually, because it's a coupon for $27.99 to her store, which has collagen drinks, which has bone broth, which has the supplements, which has the bars and shakes and things like that as well. Because I told you early, like, the collagen is going to be a big deal when it comes to protein here soon. Well, what do you know? She's got bone broth here, protein. So you guys actually get that. And so to get access to this, I already talked with her beforehand to give some kind of a hookup. So go to themodelhealthshow.com/BB cookbook. All right. So it's themodelhealthshow.com/BB cookbook all together.
Bone broth.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. For bone broth. So BB cookbook, and you're going to get those bonuses. You're going to get the hookup. Get this book. I'm straight up, like, I'm about to leave here
without that book.
This is going to be the fastest wrap to a show, because I'm seriously on some interest and some hunger here. This is gorgeous, and you're an amazing human being. And I've got one final question for you. What is the model that you're here to set with the way that you're living your life personally?
To live a purpose-driven life, to be on purpose, be aligned with your purpose. That is, it's all about really being happy. At the end of the day, here's what I find. Oftentimes, people have a really bad gauge, and I have to be honest about this. They have a really bad gauge on what fulfills them. Learn to have a gauge that you reach the level of fulfillment, and how you do that is you be aligned with your true self. Be aligned, really live a purpose-driven life. It's the only way that you're going to be truly happy. So be fulfilled, be happy, do that by living in purpose.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's
You're
right.
amazing.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is you can pick up your books, obviously, everywhere books are sold, the Bone Broth Diet and the Bone Broth Cookbook. But again, themodelhealthshow.com/BB Cookbook if you want those bonuses. I don't know how long she's going to keep them up and available, but definitely take advantage. It is like a no-brainer, because basically you get the book for free, and then you get access to the store with that awesome coupon, the ticket to basically your summit, and the other bonus, the 10-10-10 bonus as well. So you get all those additional recipes, which we love recipes here
all day.
Yeah, they're not in the book. They're not on the internet. These were, again, evergreen recipes for the 10-10 product.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Dr. Kellyann, thank you. You are a rock star, and I appreciate you so much for coming on.
I
appreciate you. Thank you for the great work. What an amazing show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this and understand, like, we need to really focus on getting connected to those things that are real and natural, and those things that our ancestors have passed along for us to utilize. Like, we don't have to try to figure this stuff out. It's already right there. It's already valuable. And this is a super concentrated source of nutrition that people have been using for thousands of years that we've seen to have lost track of. This is, again, I'm not doing anything without a purpose. There's a very specific purpose behind this. You're going to get access to certain nutrients that you can't get anywhere else. And I think it's valuable to understand that there's a food source first. So whatever your beliefs as far as your food system goes, whether it's paleo or vegetarian, it's really, how can we get closer to that food source first and foremost, where we can actually get things in a bioavailable form that our body recognizes. So getting a little bit less on the supplement tip, but supplements are important, but they're there to supplement the healthy food that you're taking in. Food first. Where are we going to find these nutrients, like the glucosamine and chondroitin, for example? I've been aware of research on this stuff for many years, but it's like, where can I get this supplement? No, you can actually get it from bone broth. And this is we have the superstar in the field of, when we're talking about bone broth, this is that person. Having her on the show today is such a gift, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So thank you so much for tuning into the show. So much amazing stuff coming up for you guys. And like Dr. Kellyann said, live a purpose-driven life. That's what it's really about. Get out there, make a difference today. Start with yourself. Do something, treat yourself. All right, do something nice for yourself today. Take action on something, whether it's for your fitness, your nutrition, whatever the case may be. But do something for yourself and then give that away as well. Pay it forward and serve somebody else. Is going to really light you up today. And again, I appreciate you so much for tuning into the show. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk with you soon.